How's it going, guys? ShizuCats here, and today I'm going to be going over the next new character to be released in Octopath CotC, Therese Shermott. Another familiar face from the original Octopath Traveler, Therese is a student of Cyrus Albright at the Atlasdom Royal Academy. She's voiced by Arisa Sakuraba, a voice actress mainly known for her role as Satan in Sin Nanatsu no Taizai. Additionally, she voices minor roles in other anime such as Rifle is Life and Hanebado. In CotC, Therese follows the class of her mentor Cyrus, being a scholar herself, with access to lightning magic. Looking at her stats, she's on the lower end offensively, being tied for the lowest magic stat amongst all 5-star scholars even in JP, at 374. Despite being on the lower end of scholars, she's still the strongest lightning user currently available in the game, compared to other units like Teo or Laura. Her strongest point is her speed, putting her on the faster end of the 5-star scholars available in the game at 303. Notably, this means that once Cyrus comes out, she'll be faster than him, allowing her to use her spells to break enemies before he uses his, while still being slow enough to allow other classes to break for her, if you want her to serve as your main lightning attacker. Let's start with her passives, since they're very simple and don't require a lot of context. Therese has the Scholar Elemental passive, where she gains 30% increased lightning damage. This is a nice free boost to her lightning damage once she hits level 50. Her 1-star passive gives her 30% magic up for the first 3 turns of battle. As this is a passive-based buff, this can be extended by using Lynette's swapping passive buff, even though Therese is already hitting the 30% buff cap by herself. Looking at Therese's kit, there's a lot of redundancy here. 1-hit lightning AoE with 150 power, 1-hit lightning AoE with 180 power, 2-hit lightning AoE, and 3-hit lightning AoE. Obviously, if you have access to it, her 3-hit lightning AoE skill is the go-to choice for breaking enemy shields. However, it's only available at 5-star, so if you only have her at 4.5, your next best option is to go with either a 2-hit single target or 2-hit AoE. Taking another look at the 3-hit lightning AoE, you'll notice that the potency isn't very high at only 3 × 55. This is in order to balance it out for its capacity to knock off as many as 9 shields in a single action across 3 enemies. That being said, the SP cost is still a bit on the higher side at 56 SP per cast. It's a bit of a shame that Therese doesn't have access to a 3-hit single or 3-hit random target lightning attack, so you'll probably just end up bringing this skill everywhere you go, regardless of whether it's against a single enemy or multiple enemies. As a nuker, her options aren't exactly fantastic. Her strongest skill for nuking purposes is her 2-hit single target lightning, which has a max potency of 2 × 180 when used with 3 BP. I recommend taking this skill for damage, and her 3-hit lightning AoE for shield breaking if you can withstand the high SP cost. Next, let's take a look at her Tome options, of which there are only 2. She has a 2-hit Tome single target, which isn't anything special, but is still perfectly usable. At 5-star, she gains a 1-hit Tome AoE, which also inflicts 15% lightning defense down on all enemies hit for 2 turns. This skill is extremely weak for multiple reasons. The first reason is that it's a Tome skill. If the enemy isn't weak to Tomes, you're using an entire turn to deal minuscule damage, you aren't reducing any shield points, and by the time Therese gets her next action, half of the debuff duration will have already expired. Unlike Sophia and Mulu, Therese doesn't have access to a skill that can inflict 6 turns of elemental debuff in a single action, like their 3-hit random target spells that inflict 2 turns of debuff for every hit, on top of breaking 3 of the enemy's shield points. As far as unit synergies go, the units I would recommend running alongside Therese are a couple pretty obvious choices in my opinion, Laura and Bertrand. Both of these units were made to fight enemies weak to lightning. Laura is a lightning scholar herself, as well as has access to a 3-turn magic defense down passive. Bertrand can inflict lightning defense down, which can stack with Therese's to hit the 30% cap, while also extending the duration to 4 turns total, which is much more manageable. Additionally, he has a 3-turn lightning defense down passive, allowing your entire lineup to deal a lot of lightning damage within the first 3 turns. The unit that Therese is inevitably going to be compared to is Cyrus. While Therese does have a tiny bit of utility in the form of her Tome nuke with lightning defense down, she is otherwise a purely damage character, and Cyrus absolutely has her beat in the damage department as well. Given players are pretty hard pressed for rubies at this point in the game, I would highly recommend skipping Therese entirely in favor of waiting to roll Cyrus. In the future, if you do roll Therese as an off-banner unit, she pairs extremely well alongside Cyrus, using both of them to beat down groups of enemies weak to lightning. However, If you have to choose between the two, Cyrus is the pick every single time. Thanks for watching, everyone. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. As mentioned in my last video, the next video I'm going to work on will probably be covering weapon enhancement, such as with the Innocent and Fenrir series. That being said, I'm going to be busy for the rest of this week through the upcoming weekend, so the next video probably won't be out until around next Monday or Tuesday at the earliest. In the meantime, thanks for your patience. And until then, this has been CotC. See ya!